Okay, hi all. Good evening, and thanks a lot for joining this session. This session is meant for a career roadmap in IT industry because I know many of you are from the non-technical background, or many of you don't know exactly what all modules, what all courses you have to work if you want to get an entry to the IT industry, right? And many misconceptions are there, right? If you want to get an entry into the IT industry, then you have to be very strong in programming. Like this is a very common misconception, but many few know this, that IT industry is not only about coding or programming. We have many other things apart from that. So that's the purpose. I thought that let's have a session where I can enrich your understanding, like what exactly happens in IT industry, right? And of course, there is something for each one of you, irrespective of your educational and the qualification background, that you can contribute something in the IT industry, right? But the main thing is how to prepare, how to start working towards it so that you can get an entry into the IT industry. Okay. And I want this session to be interactive. And along with me, we have Karthik, who is an expert in data engineering aspects. So down the line, I will request Karthik as well to share his thoughts. He has worked for some well-known financial institutions like Citibank, and apart from that, right now he is taking courses on data engineering in India and for US, Canada, Fox as well. Okay. And I want the session to be interactive. If you have any question, feel free and ask. Okay. So as far as my introduction is concerned, most of you know me, like I myself, Tanveer Khan. I have approx 13 years of experience in IT industry. Mostly I have worked on ETL related projects with SQL, Python, Unix shell scripting as my core skill sets. And apart from that, you all know I run this academy, Technist Academy. I just started 2 years back, and we had a very good response. So it's growing like anything. And then we started this for the primary sections as well, like from the class 4th till 10th. Okay. And then we are starting a new batch from 18th of April. Okay, that's all about myself. Now, and if you have any, okay, I want to start with you guys. Like, if you have any question, first of all, you can ask. Then I will proceed further. Anyone, any question? Okay, no questions. So I will start. And if you have any question, please pitch in and ask. Okay. So, okay, before that, I want to ask a question do you have any idea since when this IT industry has started? Means how long you know this? Like it has started in 2000, 1990, 1980s. What's your thought about it? Any idea? Any rough guess when it started? Anyone?
My understanding was about around 2000 it was started.
2000. Okay, fine. Any other thought?
1990, sir.
90?
1990.
1990. Okay, fine. You see, like my regular classroom session, I want the session to be interactive. So even I feel motivated to add on more detail. Okay. So the journey has started approx around 1950s, 1950s or 60s. Okay. And why I'm telling this, the purpose is to make you understand like IT industry is not only about a particular programming language, but how it has emerged from one programming language to another programming language. And that's why you have to understand like currently what the skill sets are needed in the IT industry. Then you will understand like in which direction you have to work, because a lot of misconceptions are there. Whenever I go through the LinkedIn, and nowadays everyone is influencer, promoter, they are sharing their thoughts. That is good. But always, whenever you want to take suggestions or advice, you must take it from someone who has a good expertise in a field. Like I'm in the IT industry. If you will ask me questions from the mechanical field, civil field, so I'm not the right candidate for that, right? So similarly, there's a lot of misconceptions which I want to clear, and that's what I was planning to take this session for a long time, but because of that hectic timelines and because my health was not good, that's what I was not able to take the session. But I thought that it is very much important, and especially I want to target those who are studying in college or those who are very new, just 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years of experience, because especially you are those folks who are misguided, misled, and you don't know like on which skills you have to work and where you have to go. Okay, like currently, like 1 or 2 days before, I met with one of the student. He told like he want to prepare for data science. Okay, and I was surprised that he doesn't know anything about ETL. He doesn't know anything about SQL, database, data warehouse, and then how he is preparing for data science. Okay, that's I can say like that's uh, I will not tell it's impossible, but that's very tough. It's like someone who is studying in standard second or third is preparing for 10th examination, right? So that's what a lot of this kind of misconception is there. So when I asked him that you are preparing for data science, so do you know what of syllabus are there? So he told like there is some institute ABC, and they have promised him that they will give him a guaranteed job. I will also tell you that what is the politics behind that. Okay, so for that, let me tell you the history that how it has how the IT industry means how it has grown during this era. So it started roughly in 1950s or 1970s. Okay, and at that time, mainly we have that mainframe computers, right? And if anyone has studied COBOL language, so we used to work on the COBOL language. I have worked on it because when I was working for Infosys, I was trained on COBOL, so I know that little bit. And then I moved into the ETL and all those things. Okay, so the IT industry started in 1950s. And at that time, it was the era of mainframe. 1950s, 60s, 70s, it was the era of mainframe. Most of the financial institutions, the banks, the investment banks, so they heavily rely on the mainframe computers. Okay. Then during 1980s or 1990s, I think that was the era when I think those who are from my batch, so we have taken birth during those era. So we have seen the explosion of personal computing. The companies like IBM, Apple, and Microsoft, they were at the forefront, right? And we have seen that at the birth of the internet, right? And the computers and the information, and we used to share information across the globe. I'm not talking strictly from India perspective because at that time it was very new in our country, but in the Western countries it has started at that time, right? And then 1990s to 2000, we have seen that era of www.com and all those internet, and then your email and all those things. It has started, right? Then during 2000 onwards. So it was the era of a C programming language. Then you have C++, okay, and like this. Okay, so it means like during 2000, if anyone knows a little bit or anything about C or C++, so easily you can work in US, Canada, or any other such countries. Okay, and that was the era when like everyone was planning that, okay, I also want to work in the IT industry because the software engineers who knows these languages, they were paid like anything. Okay, then during 2010 onwards, we have seen so Java and then .NET. I'll request not to draw on the board. Just a minute. Okay, so we have seen this Java, .NET, and then still C was there. Okay, so especially Java, .NET. Okay, so most of the project in the IT industry was based on this. I remember like I joined IT industry in 2011, and at that time, each and every fresher or the software engineers, they want to learn Java. Okay, because most of the applications were built on Java. Okay, So that was the era when if someone knows Java end to end, so he was respected like anything. Okay. And then .NET was also there, but still the Java was in more demand. And I can give you an example like the coffee vending machine and many of the simple examples I'm giving you. They are based on the Java, and still many of the applications are based on Java. I'm not telling that the era of Java is over now, or the jobs which are based on the Java has vaporized now. I'm not telling that, but I'm telling that during 2010 onwards, we have seen that the Java was booming like anything. Java, .NET C. Okay. Then during 2015, 14 onwards, I can tell you, we have seen the birth of big data. Okay. And the reason for this is from 2014 onwards. So what happened, like the internet cost means it started decreasing, right? And I think you all have experienced that. The cost of internet and the charges started decreasing. The Wi-Fi became readily available, and the social media platforms, like WhatsApp, Facebook, and all those things started bombarding. We all started using it, YouTube, and all those things, right? So all these social media platforms, they have they generate a lot of data. And apart from that, the e-commerce platforms like Flipkart, Amazon, or any other e-commerce platform, you can understand, they were generating a lot of data. Can you imagine the number of transactions happening on a daily basis on Amazon platform, right? You all know like millions of transactions are happening, right? And if you take the example of any festive season like Diwali or you have this Christmas, so again the transactions are happening like anything, right? Then the e-commerce giants or the companies, they started thinking that we have to understand that how our business is performing. Let's take the example of my institute. Like if I have to understand that how my institute is performing, so how my institute is performing, so I have to understand like what all courses we are running, how many participants are present in each and every course, how many participants are through student quota, how many are coming through repeat participants, how many are from the financial weak background, and then we have to calculate the total revenue. Then we have to calculate that the revenue is increasing or decreasing, right? So I need someone who can process my business data, right? Who can store the data, who can fetch meaningful information from the data as per my requirement, right? So that's why during 2014 onwards, because the e-commerce platform, the social media platforms, the satellites, the sensors, they started generating huge volume of data. And I think you all will agree with me, right? So you can understand that the amount of data which is getting generated on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, right? Many other social media platforms. So now the company owners, the stakeholders, they want to understand the business. And for that, they want someone who can store data, who can process data, who can extract meaningful information from the data, and who can generate some report. Because of this, big data is also known as like four V's are there. Okay, it's like volume, velocity, veracity. Okay, a lot of volume of data is there, right? So because of this, it has given birth to the below job profiles. The first one is data engineer. Okay, and data engineer is nothing but I can tell it is the matured version of SQL developer or ETL developer. Earlier SQL developer and ETL developer job profile was there. Okay, and it was again in huge demand. But because of this big data technologies, so now we have data engineering job profile. This is nothing but a matured version of SQL developer or the ETL developer. Now you might be thinking that why I'm telling that the data engineer is a matured version of a SQL developer or the ETL developer, because the main task of SQL or the ETL developer was to prepare the ETL pipelines. Okay, I have discussed in detail about the ETL pipelines in my ETL batch. That's a different topic of discussion. I will not go much into the technical aspect of it, but if you have any question, you can ask. So the SQL developer and the ETL developer, their roles and responsibilities were to extract data from the multiple sources and to load that in the database, maybe in the staging layer, in the integration layer, in the access layer, and then they have to clean the data, they have to apply the transformation logics as per the business requirement, and then ETL logics and many other stuff, okay? And then they have to load the data into the access layer. So this was the main responsibility of the SQL and ETL developer. And this job profile has given birth to the tools like Informatica. And then you have Talent and many other tools were there, right? Still, Informatica is a great tool, I can tell, for the ETL projects. Okay, so this was the main roles and responsibilities of the SQL developer and the ETL developer. But with this big data, the nature of data was like, now we have homogeneous data, we have heterogeneous data, we have structured data, we have unstructured data, we have semi-structured data. But before big data, most of the data was in the textual format, like how you might have seen in the movies, like there will be a Munshiji or the accountant who used to manage the business data in a file or in a register, and he will make a note of each and every transactions, credit or debit, right? So those were the transactions or data which were in the structured format. But with this social media platforms, now you can have data in audio format, you can have data in video format, you can have images, you can have HTML link and many other formats, right? It means now you have images, you have videos, you have text. So that is what you have now, unstructured data as well. So when you have images and videos, these are considered under the bucket of unstructured data. I'm not going into the detail of that, okay? So with the invent of this unstructured data, and the volume was increasing like anything, and still like the volume of unstructured data is increasing like anything. Then the IT industry was looking for someone who can store, who can process, who can manage this unstructured data as well. Okay. And again, the volume was increasing like anything. Nowadays, we have data in millions. That's a very common thing. I was working in a project where we have 100 million records. So that's a very common thing, right? So that's why we're looking for someone who has expertise in handling unstructured data and the huge volume of data. And that's what the responsibility of a data engineer. Okay. So I will request Karthik to throw some light on the data engineering job profile, that if someone is planning for data engineering job profile, so what all modules they have to work on, how they should prepare, what's the course duration for that, and if someone is from someone is precious, so how they can work on it. So Karthik, can you please share your thought here?
Yeah, thank you, Tanvir. Thank you, Tanvir, sir. Thank you for
Yeah.
inviting me. I hope, guys,
Yeah.
most of you people might know or might not know me. So myself, Karthik Kampar, I just run an institute called Simple Data Institute. Now it is emerged as a private institute, private limited. So let me give some insights for the people who actually want to get into the country. So Tanvir sir, could you please give me give me permission to share my screen?
Okay, sure. And can you come closer to mic, or maybe you can increase the volume? I've given you first access, Karthik.
Is it fine now?
Yeah, better.
Okay. 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 So guys, everyone. So if you want to get into data engineering, guys, first of all, very firstly, so very prerequisite what you need to know about what you have to learn or what actually you need to know before getting into data engineering. There are only two prerequisites. So one is you should understand SQL. So at least basic SQL you should understand. So if you are very great at SQL, then definitely it will help you out in a job, data engineering roles. That's a very common. And any programming language, whatever it might be, irrespective. Because again, you have to learn Scala there. So just a programming language. And over the programming language, just try to understand if else statements, how to derive a variables, right? How to derive variables, conditional statements, then loops, looping statements, loops, right? Some array and string. This is completely fine till this time, right? After that, anyhow, you will learn Scala and Python almost. This is a normal prerequisites if you want to get into data engineering. Now, after that, what is the roadmap if you want to get into data engineering? The straightforward roadmap is there are three things. I'll tell you generically and then I will tell you the tools. So generically, you have to understand three main things when you want to get into data. One is distributed storage system. Distributed storage system. Right? The way we store our data over our file systems over our computer, that is a local file system, right? In the way, so we have a distributed file system where data is distributed across multiple systems. So one, you have to understand distributed systems. Second, you need to have a good understanding about data warehouses. Third thing is you need to have good understanding about any language, either Scala or Python. It's up to you, right? If you know both, that would be an advantage, right? So you will stand unique within the interview, right? Then after this, you need to understand distributed computation engine. So I'll explain you what actually these things are. Distributed computation engine. So these are the four parameters, or these are the four things. If you know, then you are a data engineer, more or less. Right? After knowing this, then you can choose any AWS. That is after completing these four things. Any cloud. The cloud can be AWS, cloud can be Azure, or cloud can be GCP, whatever it may be, irrespective. Right? These are the first four parameters. Now let's come to distributed storage system. What are the distributed storage systems? And let's try to understand. See, guys, basically, let me explain you about the roadmap first of all. If you just look at the roadmap, this is the roadmap. First, you need to understand what actually the big data is. What is big data adoption? So please be on mute, guys. What actually the big data is? Try to have some good insights about what actually the big data is, because big data is not a technology. So big data is a problem. To solve that problem, Hadoop has come into the picture. Hadoop, HDFS, right? Right? If you just look at, try to understand what actually the big data is, then try to learn HDFS and its architecture. Right? Then after this, try to just understand about MapReduce. That's it. Just try to understand about MapReduce at a theoretical level. That's it. At theoretical level. This MapReduce is nothing but a computation engine which will process your data. Right? After this, try to learn data warehouses. So particularly try to learn from Hive. So some people will ask me, there are multiple data warehouses starting. There is Snowflake, there is Redshift, there is Azure, there is BigQuery. There are multiple things. But what I said that these are the first four parameters which you have to go through. This is the way you have to go to get into the data engineering. First, understand what is big data. Then try to understand HDFS. This is nothing but distributed storage system. Right? Distributed storage system. Right? So after that, so there is MapReduce. Just try to understand it at a theoretical level. Then Hive, which is a data warehouse. Then after, try to learn any language, Python or Scala. Python or Scala. Then finally, we have, after that, so try to learn Spark. It is also a computation engine. And this Spark is the replacement to this MapReduce. Why still currently at this point in the market, so everyone is using Spark. No one is using MapReduce. Then why we have to learn MapReduce? So when you go for interviews specifically, particularly when you are attending the interviews with managerial rounds, when you are attending with directors or AVPs over financial interviews, they do generally ask, yeah, how many computation engines we have. Then you generally say that, so if you are not aware of MapReduce, then you will tell that I know only Spark. Then they will definitely ask you, you don't know about MapReduce. So why we are not using MapReduce? Right? What are the advantages and disadvantages that we are using Spark and we are not using MapReduce? So that is the reason to have some good understanding, at least at a theoretical level. So just go through this. Then after, go through this Spark. is a computation engine. It's an alternative to mathematics, computation engine or processing engine. After this, after completing these 6 statements or 6 things, then choose any cloud, whatever you want. AWS, Azure, or GCP. It's up to you. Right? So don't try to get into data engineering directly via AWS, directly via Azure, or directly via GCP. Because that is not the way to get into data engineering. There are multiple people who have just entered into data engineering via AWS, Azure, and GCP, and they don't know anything. They are just habituated to a platform. The platform which just allow us to drag and drop the things. Or just click on that button, this button, clusters are creating. So you don't know what is happening. So you are not handling anything. Most of the things are handled by the cloud itself. So you don't understand the real base of that big data. So if you want to become a good data engineer or if you want to become a good big data developer, then this is the path. I'm not saying that if you get into this, you will not sustain industry, but you will not become that solid data engineer. So directly get into data engineering via AWS or Azure or GCP. First follow. This is the way. If you complete these 6 steps, then come here. Choose AWS, Azure, GCP. It's totally up to you. Currently over the market, AWS is occupied very widely. Like overall, if you just take the ratio, which is more occupied over the market, AWS occupied more market comparatively to Azure and GCP. But now GCP is picking like nothing. Why? Because GCP, Google people are providing the services at a very low prices. That is the reason, more or less. There are multiple other reasons as well. That is one of the major reasons because they are providing the services at a very lower price compared to AWS and Azure. Right? So that is the reason. So most of the architectures, most of the companies now, whoever want to migrate their project, they are migrating over GCP comparatively over AWS and Azure. Right? So this is the roadmap. Right? This is the roadmap to get into data engineering. Apart from that, if you have any sort of doubts, just quickly ask.
Karthik, I have a question. So, like, suppose if someone is starting to prepare from the scratch, okay, he or she doesn't know anything about big data.
Exactly.
They are from the non-technical background, okay.
Exactly.
So, how long it will take for them to prepare for it, and on a daily basis, how much they have to spend, like 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, because I know like many of them are working somewhere, right? So, what's the thought here?
Basically, I'll clear-cutly divide with the timing as well. So you are able to see 6 things right here. So out of these 6 things, these 4 things are very simple. So for this, you need to at least dedicate 1 hour. Even you don't dedicate 1 hour, when someone is explaining you the things, what big data is, SDFS architecture is, MapReduce is, Hive is, if you just listen the classes, that's more enough. But I'm telling you, just consider 1 hour. Just try to dedicate 1 hour till 4 topics. What is big data, HDFS, MapReduce, and Hive. Till this point. But from this point, from here, from Python and from Spark, for these 2 modules, at least on a daily basis, you have to dedicate 2 to 3 hours, apart from class. And overall, if you want to learn the big data, I can tell you that even if you are from non-technical background, even you don't know anything, so 90 days is more than enough to learn big data. 3 months of dedicated time is more than enough.
Okay.
To get into data engineering.
Okay, got it. So, folks, do you have any question for Karthik related to data engineering? I will come to data analytics after this. So, meanwhile, do you have any question for Karthik? Feel free and ask question if you have any. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, can we enter into big data as a fresher because many companies are not hiring?
I will come to that question. Thank you for asking the question. So basically, guys, whoever want to get into data engineering, so if your experience is less than 2 years, so don't get into data engineering. and don't get into trap of any institute. See, there are multiple institutes over the market. I don't want to take anyone's name, whoever it might be respective. There are bigger names, bigger faces, they are bigger faces, right? So you don't want to take anyone's name. I'm literally telling you, they will not even tell you that they will not even tell you that don't join if you're having less than 2 years. So they will not consider all these things. If you just reach out to them that I want to learn data engineering or big data, they will just take the money and they will give you the access to the course. That's it. So I'm literally telling you that the guys who are having less than 2 years, you will not get a single opportunity. It's very rare. Let's consider if you are getting an opportunity today. So next opportunity when comes, when you will get the next opportunity, God knows. That was the market is for freshers in terms of big data, particularly in terms of big data. I'm not speaking in terms of other tech stack, particularly in terms of big data. Don't get into someone's trap. So minimum 2 years is required if you want to get into big data. These are straightforward. If you even you can check, you can go over LinkedIn, and you can go over Naukri as well, and just try to type big data developer jobs. Just tell me how many jobs you can find less than 2 years. You will not find. Literally hardly 1 or 2. Right? So there are no opportunities, guys, currently, because see, big data, education is there, right? Big data, whatever the big data technology and sort of. So that is being implemented in BTech in BTech for the, I think, for the year of 2022, it seems 2020 or 2022. Till this point, a single batch has not been graduated at this point, right? So even the companies has not started, or this is 2024 only, right? I think April or May, the first batch will be graduated. I hope so, right? So literally, so no company is hiring for fresher. So try to understand, don't get into anyone's trap, or it might be irrespective. So if you're having minimum 2 years plus only, then get into big data, learn big data from anywhere, irrespective.
Okay, so thanks a lot, Karthik. I think this was very honest reply, I believe, and even like based on my experience as well, like for the data engineering job profile in my project as well, we need someone who can take full responsibility of the entire pipeline, and for that, at least means if you have some experience, then you can excel there. Survival is a different thing. Okay. So fine then, let me share my screen now. Thanks a lot, Karthik. I think this was really helpful. And so Karthik, when you're starting your new data engineering batch?
We are starting from 24th of April.
Okay.
We are starting from 24th of April. So if anyone wants to, if anyone is interested, you can just take my number from Tanvir sir, or else I think most of the people know me. They can directly connect with.
Yeah. So Karthik is there in our alumni group. So if anyone wants any information, they can connect with us. Okay. So fine. Let me share my screen now. Hope my screen is visible, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks a lot. So this was all about data engineering. So I was just telling you that why the below job profile, like data engineering, and then the data analyst, and then you have business intelligence. Especially this three job profiles are in huge demand these days in IT industry, right? Coming to data analyst, first of all, I will discuss it. See, one thing is there, guys. There are two words in the dictionary: survival and excel. So, can you tell me the difference between this survival and excel? Anyone? What's the difference? I know you all know that, but still, I'm asking anyone who knows the difference between this.
एक्सेल में
Any idea?
किसी फील्ड में टॉप करना है.
Okay, fine.
सर्वाइवल मतलब कि पता नहीं कि मतलब लाइफ चल रही है, मतलब जॉब चल
Okay.
रही है, but ऐसे उस type
Okay,
में.
good, fine. So I remember during my college days, I have few friends whose main intention was just to get 35 marks and pass in the exam. Okay, because their main intention was just to clear the paper and to pass. That's all, so that they can get a BTech degree. And then we have another set of friends who wants to be a gold medalist, or they want to get a distinction and first class and all those things, right? So that's the difference between survival or excel. Survival means if you're thinking that uh, at any cost or by all means, I just get a job in the IT industry, and I will go to office at 10. I want to get back at 5. And apart from that, I don't want to explore any other things. I'm getting salary on 30th of every month. Everything is fine. And you have been allocated a very simple project. Your manager occasionally asks you the status of your task. You're not getting challenging project. You are happy. Everything is fine. Everything is smooth in your life. So that is known as survival. So you're just happy with that. Whatever is going, everything is perfect. I'm not telling that this is wrong, or I don't want to comment anything on it. This is also fine if you have that mentality that, okay, fine, I just want to stay in the company. I just want to stay in the IT industry. Whatever salary I'm getting, I should get that by end of every month. That is fine. Then we have another set of employees or the students in college or the schools, right? Who wants to excel, who wants to be segregated from the crowd. Many times I have told this, segregated from the crowd. Like suppose if I'm teaching you something in count or joins or the window function, I'm getting some background noise. So why I'm telling this, because I have faced this in my project, and I really feel irritated. Okay, that's why I'm telling this to you. We have another set of students. When I take SQL classes, they will challenge my concept. They will not easily digest whatever I'm teaching to them. If I will tell them that in the filter condition you can use left join in on clause or the where clause, they will ask me that, why, Tanvir? What is the reason for that? What's the difference? How it will impact the performance? If you will change the joining condition, how it will impact the left join or the right join or the inner join, right? Cross join. Okay, what's the real-time application of cross join? Why you're using group by? Okay, is it mandatory to use group by with aggregate function, right? So those set of students or the learners who are asking this kind of questions, they are going to make difference. Okay. And the same they will apply when they will work in the project. I really feel irritated when I invite the software engineers who has 3, 4, 5 years of experience in the requirement gathering call with the client. And whatever client is telling, they're just nodding their head. They're not asking any question, right? So what client thinks that, oh, I'm talking to statues. They're not the software engineers, because whatever I'm vomiting, they're just accepting anything. They're not challenging my solution. But the clients want that if the client has some problem statement, so you all are the software engineers, you should come up with a solution. If the client is telling a solution, you should challenge it, and you should communicate them a better solution. Now, this is the main challenge we are facing in the IT industry, and that is the communication gap. Very few software engineers I have seen who is ready to speak up. I don't know why they feel hesitant in speaking up. And those who are speaking, they don't have a good communication. Good communication, I'm not telling become Shakespeare or become Shashi Tharoor. I'm not telling that. I'm telling in less words, you should be able to communicate your ideas. Okay. So that's what Excel means. From my perspective, Excel means if you're not attending any meeting, if you're not present in that meeting, then that meeting should be held cancelled. That, oh, Mr. ABC is not in this meeting, so we cannot continue this meeting because his inputs are required. And that is what will make you different in the project. And that's where you will start means flourishing in the IT industry, right? And then at the same time, if you have thought that, okay, I have learned SQL, I have learned Python, what next? Oh, nowadays in the IT industry, everyone is talking about data science, data analytics, artificial intelligence, Gen AI. So what is that all about? So if you're starting exploring it, so that is what will pay you down the line, right? So that's what for me Excel. Now, many times my students will ask me that, Tanvir, okay, tell me some set of interview questions for SQL. I have interview tomorrow. That is fine. You can crack the interview. But later point of time when you're working in the project, again, you will struggle there. If they're talking something in depth, you will not be able to answer it, right? So that is what there's no shortcut in my dictionary. Whatever you are studying, you have to study that in depth. So that's what if you're planning for data analyst. For this, you have to be strong in, first of all, SQL. The companies will never compromise on SQL. And I believe those who are working in the IT industry, they will agree on this point. So more than 50% weightage in your interview will be given to SQL. No compromise here. Okay. Then the next is Python. The best thing is in Python nowadays, they're not asking that much tough questions. Simple questions they will ask. Okay. Not that much tough question. And in Python, again, like if they will think that, oh, you're not super smart in Python, but you can convince them that, okay, if I'll be trained, I can learn Python very quickly. That is fine. Okay. Then Power BI. Power BI or Tableau, anyone. They both are the reporting tool and they both are very famous. But Power BI has a little bit more age as compared to Tableau because there are two reasons. One of the reasons is Power BI is a Microsoft product and the license fees of Power BI is very less as compared to Tableau. And that's why most of the companies, they're going for Power BI. Okay. You can go for anyone. And then advanced Excel. These four modules are very important if you're planning for data analyst. I'm not talking about data science. There's a big difference between data science and data analytics. Okay. So these four modules you have to work if you're planning for data analyst. Now you might be thinking that Tanvir, I'm a fresher. I have just passed out from the college or I'm from a non-technical background. So Tanvir suggests me I should go for data engineering or I should go for data analyst. Now see how you have to judge yourself. If you're strong in the programming, if you're strong in coding, if you have a soft corner for coding, okay, then go for data engineering because here you have to understand the ETL pipelines. You have to understand the different ETL layers, right? And then with the help of SQL, Python, Unix shell scripting, you have to create the pipelines. And here you have to be strong in SQL. Even if you're not strong in SQL, you should have some soft corner for the programming. If you think that no, Tanvir, programming is not my favorite paper, then don't go for data engineering. Even if you will crack the interview, at a later point of time, you will struggle. Take it, I'm giving a full guarantee for it. You will struggle at a later point of time. Okay. If you think that, oh, I'm good at communication, I'm good at presentation, I can prepare reports, I can communicate with the stakeholders, I'm good at that, then go for data analyst. That's what I told you in the beginning. The IT industry is not only about the coding. If you're good at presentation, if you can communicate the numbers to the clients, to the stakeholders, you can go for data analyst. But here you should be able to play with the numbers because as a data analyst, it's your responsibility to communicate to the business stakeholders that how the company is performing, how the profit is increasing or decreasing, by what percentage, quarter over quarter, year over year, how the revenue is increasing or decreasing. And the very simple and the straight example of data analyst I can give you, if any one of you have seen that Shark Tank episode, and if you will see that the question which sharks are asking about the unit economics, so how they are deriving it, at the back end, they're doing a lot of data analyst task. Okay. So if you're good at playing with the numbers, if you're good at mathematics, okay, you can go for data analyst. And for this, these four models are important. Now, in few companies, they can ask you a question from SQL and Python only. In few companies, they can ask you a question from SQL or Power BI. Okay. Or maybe in few companies, they can ask you from SQL and Excel. So why to take risk? So that is why my recommendation is, and we train our students in all these 4 modules if you're planning for data analyst. And for this, you have to follow a very disciplined approach. Okay. Discipline approach means, I'm telling, like, if you're working at the same time, at least you spend 2 hours on a daily basis. That is more than enough. Okay. It is more than enough. Okay. And like we have 200 to 250 assignment questions. I used to post questions on the LinkedIn, and then we are taking ad hoc sessions as well. So if you're religiously following it, so those who are religiously following here, I know most of you are from alumni group, so you will find that yes, then there's a difference, right? And so these are the 4 models from the data analyst perspective. Now, do you have any question, anyone, from the data analyst perspective? Any question? Hope everything is clear.
Tanvir, like if someone is like has already process for data engineering point of view, and if he wants to move from data engineering to data analysis, is that good at this moment in middle of data engineering?
It again depends. Like when someone asks me this question, so my first question is, what's the total experience? If you have experience more than 7 to 8 years, then my suggestion is, don't take this risk, because now you don't have that much bandwidth to play with your career, because you cannot take risk now, right? And suppose if someone is a fresher or college pass out, right, or has just 2 3 years of experience, so they can do all those things. So first of all, that's what I'm telling you. First of all, prepare your mind. If you're strong in coding, if you can dedicate 6 months of time, then go for data engineering. Data analyst as well, you have to dedicate 6 months of time, okay? But it doesn't need that much coding. You cannot tell that Tanvir SQL is a coding language. No, SQL is a query language. To be smart in SQL, you have to be smart in building logics, okay? But now if your question is, Tanvir, I started preparing for data engineering, and then I discovered at a later point of time that maybe it's not my cup of tea. I'm not able to understand it. I'm not able to crack it. Then you can move to data analyst, because if you're preparing for data engineering, so already you know the basics of SQL. Maybe you have studied about ETL as well, and this both models will help you in data analyst as well. You can switch to it. Okay, so that's not a big deal. So don't think that you have wasted your time. No, whatever you have studied there, no, that will help you here as well. Because nowadays in data analyst job profile, if you know the data, if you know the ETL pipelines, that will help you. Why? Because suppose you're working as a data analyst and there's a production issue. If you know how the pipelines has been designed, so you can go into that and you can find the root cause analysis. Okay, so you can switch to it. But if someone is starting from scratch, that is what I told you. Connect with some expert and then decide whether you should go for data engineering or data analyst. Hope I answered your question.
Yes, very well. Thank you.
Okay. And fine. Okay, someone has asked, can I switch support job to development? Yes, of course. You can switch easily from support to development. There's not a big gap between support and development. Okay. But how to handle this during interview, maybe in the next session, I will answer it. Because directly during your interview, you should not tell to the interviewer that you are from the support background. One important thing I want to tell you here, guys. See, suppose if I have been hired in a project as a data analyst, suppose, okay? And in that company, suppose now there is no project based on the data analyst. So it's not like that the company will not assign any project to me and they will just give me salary. No, the company will assign any other project, any other job profile to me. It happens in IT industry. Many times it has happened. You have been hired for Java and you're working on .NET. Okay, you have been hired as a business analyst and you're working as a tester. It happens. So if you're planning to switch from support to the data engineering or data analyst, you can do that. It's very simple. But yes, during interview, you have to make some stories. Okay. So maybe in the next session, I will cover it, that how you can cover up those experience of support or the talent acquisition or the HR. And if you want to switch in the data engineering or data analyst, so you might be thinking that, Tanvir, I have worked as 5 years in the support or talent acquisition or HR. Now, Tanvir, if I will switch to data engineering or data analyst, So what about with my 5 years of previous experience? So do you think that will be nullified? So that depends how you're answering to the interviewer. You have to answer, you have to project in such a way that those 5 years of experience should reflect that those 5 years of experience, you were having a designation of support or you're having designation of talent acquisition, but you have worked as a data analyst. This is what you have to prove. And how you have to prove it? When they will ask the questions. So when you're answering the questions, you have to give the flavors of the data analyst job profile. That I was working as a data analyst and I have used this query in deriving this KPIs, this metrics, this numbers, this revenue, this profit. So then the interviewer will be forced to trust you that, oh, if a particular person knows in depth of this, he or she must have worked as a data analyst. So maybe in the next session, I will guide you that how you can project in that way. Okay. Any other question from this? From the data analyst perspective, anyone?
How long would it take for preparation, like
See,
including all this?
yes, if you're planning for data analysts, so generally we take 2 hours class on a daily basis. So excluding that, just spend 2 hours. Okay, means you have to spend 2 hours apart from that on a daily basis. Okay, so your self-study that is sufficient, and for the next 5 to 6 months, if you're not working anywhere, so that depends like how much you're going to spend 5 hours, 6 hours, or 8 hours on a daily basis, then it will be reduced to 3 months or 4 months. But my suggestion is don't study SQL and Python at the same time. Because as per my experience, I have observed this when you're studying two programming or the query language at the same time, you will get confused. I'm not telling only with SQL or Python. You take any two programming languages and you will study at the same time and you will get confused. So if you're starting with SQL, first of all, complete SQL. Okay, once you have completed SQL, then study Power BI and then jump to Python. After SQL, you can go to Python as well. That is also fine. So SQL, Python, Power BI, then go for advanced Excel. Okay, this is the path which I will suggest. But in SQL, you have to have very in-depth knowledge because this is like a bread and butter in the IT industry. Once you have worked as a data analyst for minimum 2 to 3 years, then you can plan for data science. I'm telling this especially, I'm repeating it, I'm telling this especially to those who are very new, those who are fresher. Don't directly start preparing for data science. It will be very difficult. Data science is the matured version of data analyst. If you're working as a data analyst for 2 to 3 years, then if you will prepare for data science, it will be a smooth journey for you. But I have seen many students, they directly started preparing for data science because I know that's a fancy word these days, right? And many edtech companies, they will tell you that, oh, we can help you in preparing for data science and we will give you job guarantee. Job guarantee again is a scam. It has happened with many of my students. I will tell you the politics behind that. So work as a data analyst for 2 to 3 years, then start preparing for data science. Okay. Any question so far?
Yeah, Tanvir.
Yeah.
In coming future, it's a going to for AI. So how can these traditional tools compete with AI? Like nowadays, we can type for any small code like build a report for top 10 customers according to sales like quick sense, not only QQ and quick sense. Amazon product like quick something is there. Recently I saw in my project, just giving the questions, typing the question, it is building the dashboards and everything. Moreover, that along same hand side, we are having the whenever we type in chat GPT, like having the top 10 customers build the SQL query, then it directly giving the query. How
Okay.
can we compete with that AI by
Okay.
learning these?
Okay.
Instead of learning AI,
Hmm.
is there any use to learn this traditional SQL or directly
Mhm.
going for prompt engineering.
Okay. So, see, I know like AI is a buzzword these days, but again, see, AI is just evolving, and no doubt it is having a great future down the line. Okay. But
Yeah.
don't get panic of it that, okay, AI will eat up my job, it will vaporize all the job, what will happen and all those things. Don't get worried about it. Okay. What you can do, and I know, like even I have taken a session that a lot of data analytics tasks can be done very easily with the help of this AI tool, right? I have taken a session on ChatGPT and how it can do the data analysis for you. Okay. But still, it is not that much matured that the company will rely on AI and it can give all the project tasks to the AI, right? It is evolving. Okay. But it will give birth to new job opportunities. And the one very straightforward is prompt engineering. Okay. So, from my understanding, don't get distracted at what will happen in the future. Still, the companies they are not totally they have not using AI blindly because still the data security is a concern, data privacy is a concern. You might have heard about Samsung. What has happened? The employees they started using ChatGPT and accidentally their confidential data was leaked, right? And whatever you're typing in ChatGPT, they're using it. The OpenAI company, they are using it for further analysis and understanding responses, right? So don't get distracted because of all those things. Even I have seen many SQL queries I have posted in my alumni group as well, where the responses were incorrect. I agree that down the line it will be refined and it can act as a data analyst, it can do programming for you, it can happen, but at the same time it will give birth to a lot of other job opportunities as well, right? What happens during 2000 when everyone started adopting computers and the people were afraid that, oh my god, what will happen, the computers will do all the tasks, then what we human beings will do? But we have seen that computers, they have given birth to a lot of other job opportunities, right? So now the question is what we have to do. What you have to do is for AI or ML, for them to work properly, the bread and butter for them is data. How ChatGPT is working. It has been trained on billions of data, right? Then it is working. So that's what for AI or ML model, the basic ingredient is the data, right? So now what is your responsibility? You have to understand the data. You have to understand the ETL layers, the different layers of ETL, how the data is loaded in the different layers, how you're preparing reports on top of it, right? What are different analytics you can do, right? How this AI is working, what is generative AI, how it is different, right? So you start understanding the AI and then the mathematics and the statistics which is used there. Because down the line, it will be there, it will be like it will enrich the task of a data analyst, but it's not like it is going to vaporize all the job profiles. Don't get confused, these all are noises. Okay. So your task is to keep on enriching yourself. Okay. And for that, make a group, be active in the groups or the forums, whatever it may be. In LinkedIn as well, many platforms are there where AI engineers, machine learning engineers, they're discussing about it, the new trends in the AI world, what are new inventions people has done. So you have to keep yourself updated of it. Don't get afraid that, oh my God, AI will do the data analytics job. It is preparing reports. So what will happen? Nothing will happen. You have to understand how AI is working so that if there's new opening in the AI, you can be hired there. So don't get, and this is for everyone I'm telling, don't get afraid of it. So work on the basics. For AI as well at the back end, machine learning algorithms are there. How these algorithms are designed? They are designed based on the SQL, Python, and the different Python libraries. So the companies they want someone who can prepare models, right? So you start working on it. If you're not strong in mathematics or the statistics, you start learning the mathematics, the statistics, the different topics in the statistics. Okay, but that is what my suggestion is. Okay, so hope I have
Thank you,
answered
Tanvi.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
so hope I have answered the question. So any other question, guys? I think we are on time. I have saved 2 minutes. So any other question? Okay. My final suggestion to everyone. I hate this survival word. I really hate this. Always think of excelling in your field. To excel in your field, you have to gain an in-depth understanding not only about the programming languages but about your project as well. Okay, because I struggle when I lead my project. I struggle here. I rarely find someone who knows end to end about my project. Everyone, they have the mentality they want to just complete the task, they want to leave for the day. So always think that how I am different from my teammates, how I can be segregated from the crowd. And that will happen when you're ready to challenge the system, when you're ready to challenge the solution. And that will happen when you have in-depth knowledge of anything, either SQL, Python, Power BI, Advanced Excel, or the business in which you're working. That is what I will recommend strongly to each one of you. Keep enriching on a daily basis. If you're super busy, at least spend 10 minutes of time. Okay, scan LinkedIn or any other platform where you can get some technical knowledge. Go through that at least 10 minutes. Okay, so that is what my suggestion to everyone. So thanks a lot for joining this. If you have any question, we will take session again. If you have any question from data engineering perspective, we have Karthik in our alumni group. You can ask question to him. I'm always there to help you out. You can ask question to me as well. So thanks a lot, everyone. Take care. All the very best. And thanks a lot, Karthik, as well, for taking out your valuable time. Take care, everyone. Good night. Bye.
Thank you, Tanvirji.
Thank you. Thank you.